Miss Liz, tea time, yeah. Making a difference, one cup at a time. Tea time. Yeah, Miss Liz, tea time, yeah. Making a difference, one cup at a time. Tea time. So be sure to grab your tea, grab a seat, and tune in to Miss Liz. Tea time, making a difference, one cup at a time. Tea time, yeah. Tea time, time.
Well, welcome to Tea Time. That's right. Miss Liz is back, and I have a 3-time returning guest sitting in the studio in the back, and we're going to have a good old conversation today. Today's tea is teaching impact with art and advocacy work, and a lot of incredible stuff, and awareness on adult late diagnosis with autism. So we're going to talk about all of that good stuff. But before we get started with all of that, we're going to get you over to Miss Liz's YouTube channel. We're going to get you to ring that little doorbell, and you can subscribe to Miss Liz's YouTube channel, and you'll be notified for all these tea times. You can listen to these tea times during a live stream or in the morning, afternoon, evening, in your home, in your car, at an event, all of that good stuff. What does Ms. Liz offer you? Well, I offer you over 300 plus interviews with different guests from around the globe with over 105 different topics. So there's a lot of different stuff out there. What we serve is, we don't serve a beverage, we serve storytelling and words. So check that out. Check out all these incredible teas, and you'll see each story is a different flavor and a blend in a different way. So let's get the disclaimer going. Let's get a little bit on Ayanna, and then we're going to get her in here, and we're going to have some tea together. So, disclaimer for Miss Liz's Tea Time Live Show. Miss Liz, myself, is going live using StreamYard. Before leaving a comment, please grant StreamYard permission to see your name at StreamYard.com. Please be advised that the content brought forward for any Tea Time show hosted by myself, Miss Liz, is always brought forward in good faith. However, it may bring forth dialogues and opinions that are not representative of my platform. The facts and information are perceived to be accurate at the given time of airing. All Tea Time guests and audience participants are responsible for using their good judgment and taking any action that may relate to the discussion. The content brought forward may include discussions for some where they may be emotionally at risk. It is significant to know that the show is engaging in discussion forums only to offer and inspire awareness and connection, and is not providing therapeutical advice. If you have any questions about the disclaimer or the panel's discussion, you may freely contact me, Miss Liz, through my email at bookingmissliz@gmail.com. Moving forward, should you choose to voluntarily participate in today's show in any aspect, I myself, Miss Liz, welcomes you. And should you decide that the show is not made for you at this time, I respect your wishes, and will see you at a later show at a later date and time. And again, all regular Tea Time shows are done on Thursday, 3 p.m. and 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you see a Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, it's a special, surprise, or a rescheduled Tea Time. So now a little bit about my guest. Well, I reached out to Ayanna this time for her to return because I miss her. And every time she comes, we always have a good conversation. So Ayanna Davis, aka Phenomenalautistic, is on the autism spectrum and celebrates the incredible journeys of those living with autism. Ayanna is an inspiring autism advocate born and raised in Westchester County, New York. Despite facing over 300 seizures and living with chronic illnesses and 3 autoimmune diseases, she passionately spreads messages of self-love, equality, diversity, inclusion, and autism awareness through the arts. She's an autism advocate, children's book illustrator of 16 books to date. Check out her latest, Millennium, available on Amazon. But I believe she has a new book. We're going to talk about that new book. Creator of 4 coloring books for girls of color, designed for events like Harlan Week, WBL's Circles of Sisters, and more. She's a theater child with a love for all performing arts, honored at the United Nations and proclaimed April 26 as Ayanna's Day in Westchester County, New York. Former choreographic with work featured on BET, ABC, Family, and the Apollo Theater. Let me get her in here and let's spill some tea. Welcome, Ayanna.
Hello.
Am I saying it right, Ayanna?
No, it's Ayanna.
I just asked you before we went live, and I was just like, "Here we go, Miss Liz." short spam. So welcome back. It's an honor to have you here.
Thanks for having me back.
So let's get back into a conversation in case somebody hasn't seen season 3 and season 4 with you. Tell me who you were as a little girl and who you are now as a grown woman.
Okay, well, I'm Ayanna, and I am an autism advocate and artist. I advocate for Black autistic women, and I mainly focus on late diagnosed autistics. And I speak about how Black autistics are either late diagnosed, never diagnosed, or misdiagnosed. I illustrate children's books. I have illustrated 31 children's books to date. My latest children's book is called I'm Autistic and I'm Phenomenal, and it is a children's book seen through the eyes of a little Black autistic girl. I design jewelry. I do theater. I did theater as a child. I'm a former choreographer. So I'm just into anything dealing with the arts.
So let's talk a little bit about that book because that book looks amazing, right? You can see the image, and for the people that are watching the video, you can see her holding this incredible book. So how long did it take you to write that book?
It took a while because I kept changing it. So I actually started the concept for it in like 2020, and it didn't come out until 2023, I believe. But I kept changing it. I changed the cover. I changed the storyline, sort of, because I was, as I was advocating, I was learning more about autism, being late diagnosed. I was learning as I went along. The first cover that I designed for the book, it did have the puzzle piece on it, and we know there's controversy behind the puzzle piece. So once I became more educated about that, I decided to remove the puzzle piece from the cover, and I designed a whole new cover for it. So, that took me some time to decide how I wanted to make the new cover. The illustrations inside, it don't necessarily take me long to do them, but it's more about like the concept and how I want to do them and how I want them to like jump out of the page and resonate with the audience, and how I want the audience to understand the way we see life, the way we interpret things, the way things look to us, and just knowing that like we don't see the world the way other people see the world. And that's what I want people to see and take from the book. I wanted to point out that, yes, we have our bad days, and every day is not rainbows and sunflowers and roses, but there's also good. There's a lot of good. We're not all nightmares. It's not always a nightmare. So I also wanted to point out the good and the joys and the sunshine. So that was like what I wanted to also focus on.
Could you tell me a little bit about the puzzle piece?
Sure. The puzzle piece, um, it was basically saying like you're missing pieces. So that's where the controversy came in. So I just didn't really appreciate somebody saying like you're missing pieces. That's why you're autistic. It's kind of like saying somebody has like a loose screw, when they call somebody mentally ill. They're like, oh, you got some loose screws, so like you're missing pieces. You're where's the missing piece? Like
Yeah.
we are complete. We're different, but we are complete. We don't have any missing pieces. So that was the controversy with the puzzle piece. There's a great article somebody wrote for The Mighty called "The Problem with the Puzzle Piece." If you Google it, you can find that article, and it'll go more in depth about the problem with the puzzle piece for representing autism. So I didn't want anything to do with that.
Yeah. Well, it is, right? Like it's like saying you're a loose screw, like,
Yeah.
and I always like this because we always have an open heart conversation, you and me, right? And we get it out there that we are special, we are unique in our own way. That doesn't mean that there's something missing with us. We're just made a different way, right?
Yeah.
Um,
And
so
it's also very offensive because, and it's kind of manipulating too, because they have this symbol that is supposed to represent autistic children and autistic individuals, And they make t-shirts with the autism puzzle piece. So then like families are buying this and families are wearing these t-shirts, and a lot of them don't know the meaning behind it. So there's where they're wearing these t-shirts and they have their kids in these t-shirts, just walking around with these t-shirts that mean I'm a missing piece. I've got missing pieces. So, they represent, they have it, and they kind of present it like it's something good, and then it's not. It's very insulting. So there are a lot of problems with the puzzle piece.
Yeah, and we talked about this on season 4, right? All these campaigns and stuff that are out there, right? Like
Yes. Mm-hmm.
we have these campaigns for one day, but then the rest of the year we're forgotten, right? We don't
Yes.
talk about it. And
Mm-hmm.
you and me, we both feel in it's an insult for somebody who's living with stuff.
Yeah,
That
it's
we can
like,
only speak about it on this day, but we can't speak about it on that day, right?
yeah, like autism. Of course, we are grateful for Autism Acceptance Month. It used to be called Autism Awareness Month, but now it's Autism Acceptance Month. Yes, great, wonderful, we love it. But when the month of April is over, we don't snap out of being autistic. You know, when May arrives, we're autistic all year long, 24 hours a day, every minute of the day, every second. So, just for people to only focus on it once, 1 month out of the year, and then kind of like forget about us for the rest of the year. It's kind of a weird thing because, we're like, hey, we're still here. So, it would be nice for the conversation to keep going and for it to be more normalized to speak about autism, because the stigmas that are just put on autism, like, yes, it is a very sensitive topic, but you still have to get the conversation going, and none of the stigmas will be removed until you get the conversation going. A lot of conversations are hard to have, but they are still conversations that need to be had.
Yeah, and that's something that we both agree on is conversation needs to keep going, right? We need to keep that flow going. And that's what tea time is all about, is keeping the flow moving, right? Keeping it moving. And that's why you don't just reach out to a guest when it's that month to celebrate on that campaign. I like to throw throw people in all time of the year, right? It's not just when it's okay, well, this is autism month, so I have to get all autism guests. I have to get all mental health guests. I have to get all uh survivor guests. We have to mix it up and really just keep that conversation flowing. um Iana, I want to talk about when you were on season 4. We talked about this on the creativity of autism children, but also the autistic creation of an adult, like because you were diagnosed at a late age, right?
Yes, I was diagnosed as an adult, which is, a late diagnosis. Anything really after, um, the average age for diagnosis is about 18 months old. So being diagnosed as an adult is considered late diagnosis. So I was diagnosed as an adult.
How old were you when you were diagnosed?
That's a question for dad, but I was, I'm a millennial, so it was about almost 10 years ago. So I was, I was up there.
Yeah, so you were an adult.
Yes.
Now, do you find that there's enough awareness and advocacy for adult individuals living with autism?
Um, it's getting better. I don't feel like I feel like we always have to start the conversation. And if we don't start the conversation ourselves, then there's really no talk about it. There's really no conversations about it being had. Sometimes if they do speak about autism, they're given misinformation, and then we always have to step in and correct them. So it's always like, if we don't start the conversations don't get started. So I don't feel there's enough talk about it. It's like, okay, when April comes, that's when the conversation starts. But again, at the end of April, the conversations fizzle out, the conversations go away, and it's just like, we can't only speak about autism in April, because we are autistic all the time. You're autistic from the time you're born until the time you go into the dirt. So we can't only speak about it in April.
Yeah. And it's sad that it has to be that your guys are you that you have to start the conversation, right? um Instead of somebody coming up and saying, you want to tell me a little bit about yourself? Like, how you doing today? Like, just an open conversation to get it going, because you're an individual, you're a person too, right? You have feelings, you know, and people seem to forget that because of the diagnosis. They look at the diagnosis instead of the person.
Yeah, and also like if there is a conversation going about autism, most of the time it's something negative. It's never really anything positive. It's usually something negative, maybe something they hear in the news about like an autistic child being like abused by a teacher, but it's never really anything good. So it's the conversations that are that are start about autism, it always stems from something negative, never anything good. It's never like a feel good autism story. It's very rare, but again, if it's a feel good autism story, it's usually in the month of April.
So, Yana, I want to talk about being a Black woman. Have you met other Black women with autism?
I haven't met any Black autistic women in real life, but I've met some really amazing ones online. You know, when I got diagnosed, I got online and um, you know, when I started getting like a following, a lot of Black autistic women started following me. I followed them back. We had a lot in common. Um, and it just was like a relief to like finally connect with people who got it and who understood me. Um, I have tons of allies who I really appreciate their support and um, them having my back. But to have somebody have walked the walk and know exactly how you feel, it's just like a different type of feeling. So I've met a lot of amazing Black autistic women online.
Now, do you find that the women are afraid of speaking and coming forward, or
I don't feel that they are afraid of speaking, but you know, sometimes there are a lot of ignorant people online and you don't always want to deal with that. You know, sometimes you want to come online, you want to speak about your experience without getting attacked. And there are a lot of ignorant people who will attack you. I wrote an article, I think it came out in either 2021 or 2022, about Black autistic women being included in conversation about autism. And there were so many trolls, DMs on Instagram and TikTok, just it was mostly white, neurotypical men. They weren't even autistic, but they had so much to say about it. Not everybody wants to deal with that. So it wasn't that they didn't want to speak up, but not everybody wants to deal with that. Some people just want to live their life, be happy, Black and autistic, and not have to deal with that. But there are so many who speak up. I know so many Black autistic women who advocate. They're all amazing. We all advocate in our own way. We basically all fight for the same issues, but we do it in our own way, and they're all amazing.
yeah? Well, you do through arts. Like, you create some really amazing stuff, like clothing design, earrings, and designer bags that we're going to talk about a little bit more in a few minutes. But I mean, like, you really put the arts in there, right? And we talked about this before we went live, right? When people don't understand us, we turn to the arts. So let's talk a little bit about your artwork.
Sure. I started drawing and painting and doing theater and dance and all those wonderful things when I was a very young child. Obviously, if you follow my story, you know that I was undiagnosed as a child, but there was always questions of people asking, well, she's different. Why is she like that? So it was very obvious that I was different, but I always was in some type of art program. I always drew. I would take my art supplies and go find somewhere to draw where nobody was bothering me. I did school plays when I was a teenager. I was part of a theater company, a dance company. So I was always into some type of art, and that's where I felt safe. I didn't feel safe in school. I didn't feel safe anywhere else. I only felt safe when I had art. So I feel like I couldn't have gotten as far in life, and I wouldn't be here speaking about it if I didn't have art, because that was my safe space. That's still my safe space. when you don't really, fit in with people, fit in anywhere else, you don't there's no wrong in art. You can do it however you want. Nobody can tell you this is right, this is wrong. Don't do it like that, because it's something that you're creating and nobody can tell you how to create things. So that's still my safe space. So that's where I go when you need a little bit of like an escape or comfort. So that's why I know that like I choose to um, just do any type of artistry to keep myself going.
Let's talk about those earrings because I've seen some amazing earrings that you've done. And I'm just like, whoa, you've done that. You put two pairs of earrings together or three pairs of earrings, and you've taken them apart and recreated them. Like some of your earrings are like, I'm just like, wow, that's an earring. So what has it been always about the earrings?
Well, I love earrings. Everybody that knows that I have like a really big earring collection. I like, sometimes I just buy earrings and I take them apart and I put them back together how I want. Sometimes I start from scratch and make earrings from scratch. The bigger the better. Today I just have hoops on today, but you can't go wrong with a hoop. Um, Sometimes I turn my artwork into earrings and I'll just like hook them to the hoops. So it'll be like artwork on my hoops. And people started asking for them. So I make them for people like by request, just like the handbags. I make those by request. And it's just another outlet for me to get my creativity out. Um, because I feel like you can never do too much creatively.
Yeah. So now let's talk a little bit about these handbags because you have a special project that you're working on that we want to bring big attention to. So for all the listeners out there, I want you to really pay attention to what she's going to speak about next because I believe we need this awareness out there big time. So Ayanna, you want to tell us a little bit about what these handbags are going to do and how you're creating them and who you're creating them for?
Yes, I right now I'm designing and will eventually donate. Um I I've designed about 12 different designs, and they'll be produced more than one of each design, for foster kids, because I read an article and I saw that sometimes, when they're being moved from home to home, sometimes they just have to get up and go and they have to transport their belongings in trash bags. And when I read the article, I just couldn't stop thinking about it and it was really bothering me. And, a lot of autistic people, we have this thing where we can't stop thinking about things and we just think about the same thing over and over and over again. So like it was just really, and it was just really bothering me. So I'm just like, okay, well, you can just let this continue to bother you or you can do something about it. So that's what I decided to do. A friend of mine is a spokesperson for foster children, and she's going to help me with the project. So I'm going to design a few more bags and then we're just going to push forward. And I just can't wait to get the ball rolling. I don't feel like anybody deserves to be treated that way. They're not trash, so why do you have to move your belongings somewhere in a trash bag? They're people too, just as important as the next person. So this is something that I'm really looking forward to, and I want to do it for as long as I can.
Well, I think it's really deeply important. And I'm so happy that you're doing this because a lot of people are unaware of this, that when foster children are moved, that their belongings are put into a trash bag. And the message that you're giving a child is that they're trash, that they're no good. And then you tell them to believe in themselves. Well, if you believed in the child, you wouldn't be putting it into a trash. You would have a suitcase, you would have a bag, you would have, something there for a child. And it does make a huge impact in a child's life. I know for myself, I was a foster child and I was moved with a trash bag. My kids are also put into foster care for personal reasons, and they were moved with bags. And the garbage bag does trigger a foster child for years and impacts their lives for years. So thank you so much for creating this and bringing that awareness to the table. I can't wait to see what those bags are going to look like because I've seen your earrings, I've seen your books, and I seen that you had given a woman a bag, a designer bag, in a shop or something. I seen a video. It was either in a shop or a birthday gift or something, and she was just blown away by the design that you did. I think it was like a year ago, just before you came on Tea Time. You had given her pair.
Oh, that was the vegan, I don't even know what to call her now because she's like a big mogul. That was Tabitha Brown, the vegan. I don't want to call her a TikToker because now she's like this amazing businesswoman. But I went to her book signing and I actually designed a purse and earrings for her. So I
That's what
gifted
it
them
was.
to her. Yes, I gifted them to her at her book signing. It was pretty cool.
Yeah. See, I do follow the guests, and I follow you guys so much that I'm just like, hey, was it this? Was it that? Like before we went live, I said, was it bracelets or earrings? Because I couldn't remember. Because I know I have some guests that do bracelets, some that do earrings, and then I was like, no. As soon as you said earrings, I was like, yes, it was, because I remember the last time you were on Tea Time, the earrings you had on were amazing.
Yeah,
Like,
they were really huge. Yeah, I
yeah,
still have
they were really
those. Those are
big.
like one of my favorite pair. And because sometimes I'm guilty of like losing earrings, but I still have both of those. So
And you also design wardrobe as well, because I've seen some of your outfits that you've created.
yeah.
Uh, with jeans and stuff like that. You add some little character to them, like like style, right? You're coming into the room like, I'm here, like look at. So being on Tea Time 3 times, what do you enjoy the most?
I like to come here and have open conversations with you about mental health, about raising awareness to issues that are important that society needs to hear about, that maybe people might not think that they needed to learn about, but they get to come here and learn about it, and just have a great open educational conversation.
Now I want to take you down a different path. We're going to go down a rabbit hole now. We're going to do colors. Your favorite colors are pink and purple.
Yes.
Why those two colors?
Well, purple because like it represents royalty and it's a very spiritual color, and I'm very spiritual. It's like the amethyst color, and amethyst is like my favorite crystal. It like gives you like protection and all of that. So that's why I like purple. Pink is a very girly color, and I'm very girly. Like I love wearing pink. Obviously, I have on pink today. Um, and I just like pink because it's pretty and it's girly and you just look nice in pink. I don't really have like a deep meaning for why I like pink. Those are just my two favorite colors.
Well, when you say pink, it's like a cheerful color, right? It's like
Yeah,
you
like it's
can't
like
say
a happy
pink
color.
with a sad face,
Happy
right? Like
when
you can't.
yeah.
Try and say pink with a sad face. For
No,
all
I
the
can't.
listeners out there, like I'm gonna test you guys. Like, try and say it without with a gloomy face. Pink. I can't. See, I got to smile. It's a smiley color. It just lightens up the room. Now, if you could change anything about today's world with autism, what would you change?
I would change the way that people see autistic people. I would change the way people judge you before they get to know you as a person. They see you and they know that you're autistic and they judge you by your diagnosis. They don't get to know you as a person. They hear that you're autistic and that's what they judge you by. They judge you because you're autistic and they don't really give you a chance to learn about you as a person and to learn about the type of person you are, your character, your morals, the things you believe in. It's just like, okay, well, they're autistic, they're weird. And no, I would change the fact, like, get to know us, stop judging us, stop, going by the stigmas that society has put on autism and be a little bit more open minded.
So let's talk a little bit. We have a couple questions here that I want to ask you that are coming in. Somebody asked you about your seizures. Do you still have seizures?
Well, I actually hit my 2-year seizure free mark a couple months ago. I need to post my photos for that. I just haven't been on social media as much. But yeah, I hit my 2-year seizure free mark. We just had to do like some like medication adjustments, and it was just like trial and error with medications and a new neurologist and things of that nature. So I'm doing really good.
And diversity inclusion, when you hear those two words, what comes to mind?
Diversity and inclusion. Not leaving anybody out, including everybody. You know, just because somebody's different, it doesn't mean that you have to throw them to the side and throw them to the trash. It means if somebody's different, you should want to learn who they are. You should want to include them because you can learn something from everybody. And you should want to learn about the differences that people have. And because, like I said, you can learn something from everybody.
And someone's asking what the name of your coloring books are.
Oh, there are so many. One is called ABCs and Afro Puffs. One is called We Are Still Magical. One is called We Are Magical. Oh, there are so many, but those are the three newest ones. There are so many.
So do you have any plans to make any more coloring books?
Yes, I do. I took a year off this year. I didn't put any books out. So next year, I plan to put out more children's books and more coloring books. This year, I was mainly doing illustrations for other authors, so I didn't work on like my own projects, but I've been illustrating for other authors.
And another question we have for you, are you still working with United Nations?
I actually only worked with them when I got like honored by the organization at the United Nations. So that was the only time that I ever worked with them.
So they haven't reached out to you for any more advocacy or anything?
No, I actually got honored for the community work that I did. This was before I started advocating. This is when I had a dance program for girls in an underserved community. So that was what I got honored for.
Now, do you speak at any events?
I do a lot of Zoom speaking engagements. I actually have one this coming Sunday and it's UK based. So I'm looking forward to that. Um, I haven't done, I think I've done maybe one in person. But I'm looking forward to doing more in the new year. Like I said, right now I'm just kind of like fizzling out for the holiday season and getting ready for the new year, planning out the new year and things of that nature.
Now, I'm going to give you some words and I want you to tell me what you think of these words. Teaching.
Teaching, patience, understanding, enlightenment,
Impact.
impact, making a difference, changing somebody's life, learning new things.
Art.
Oh, everything. Life. Art is life. Um, saving someone's life, changing someone's life, giving life to things.
Advocacy.
Advocacy. Bringing awareness to the world, bringing information to those who may not have gotten it from anybody else, trying to make a change, trying to make things better, try to make things easier, trying to take the load off of those who maybe don't have a voice, but they want somebody to be their voice.
Creator.
Creator. Change maker, risk taker.
Performance.
Courage.
And the reason that I'm doing this is because I want my listeners to understand that when we throw words out there, we can think of positive things, right? We can think of good things. And that's what you just did, is you gave me all positive stuff, right? You didn't give me any negative. You gave me all positive. And that's how simple it is when we put words out there, when we put stories out there, when we have the conversations, we can have those positive outlooks and changes. And I love that you said change maker, because that's exactly who you are. You're a change maker in my eyes. And I'm really blessed to have you come into my life and share your story and get it out there. I want to go into when you were a little girl. and you got a lot of misunderstanding because people thought like you were like this bad kid, always in trouble, hard to understand. So as a little girl, what would you say to the little girl today?
I would tell her that you are not bad, you are just different, and that you may not understand today or tomorrow, but one day you'll understand, one day it'll all make sense.
So, Yena, you live with chronic illnesses. So, do you want to speak a little bit about those that you live with as well?
Yes, I have 5 autoimmune diseases. You have your good and bad days, you have your ups and downs, but there's more ups than downs. I try to not focus so much on the negative because, um, I don't want like I speak very transparent about it on my page and everything. I don't get into every detail and tell all my business, but I'm pretty transparent. I share things. I speak about like my medications when I'm trying to get my medications changed and my doctor's appointments when I'm having problems with my doctors. But I don't want to like let it totally control me, even though some days it does control me and I can't really do much. But I don't want it to control me, and I don't want to rest in it. I don't want it to be like all that I am. And I don't want like when people come to my page, I don't want my page to be like gloom and doom, and I don't want people to get sad when they come to my page. I choose to share because other people might go through things and we might relate. Maybe I can help somebody, maybe they can help me. So but things are way better now. People might look at me. Sometimes I hear, you don't look sick. But there was a time when you could look at me and you could tell that something was going on. So I'm doing a lot better now than I was 7 years ago, 8 years ago. I'm doing better than I was 2 years ago.
And that's
2020.
what I really enjoyed about your page, especially on TikTok, right? I like checking out your little videos and stuff like that, and it's always encouraging, But you also have a straightforward voice as well for not like you have no tolerance for nonsense. Like you're like, this is ridiculous. Like you're taking a post down, you've done this, you've done, and I want to talk about that social media taking down awareness post and education posts. How do you feel about that?
You mean like when I post about awareness?
Yeah.
I choose to post about my advocacy and my I choose to speak about these things because this is what I do. So um you have to speak up if you want to see change. Just sitting around wanting change, nothing is going to happen. You have to take action and you have to speak out. I'm meeting a lot of people who have like the same goals, who want to see the same things that I want to see. I learn a lot from them. They learn a lot from me. I meet a lot of parents who are the parents of autistic children, and we have great conversations. They tell me that that they understand their child better. Can they learn a lot from my page? So if only one person can learn something from my page, I know that I'm doing something right.
Now, Iana, you've done a lot of articles for different magazines and books out there. Have you co-authored in any anthology books?
When I did a poetry book really long time ago, and I don't remember the name of it, but it's really terrible. But as far as like other like current and recent, no, I haven't. I've only like um collaborated as an illustrator.
Now, do you have any plans of doing any future podcasts or any um, shows or anything like that out there?
Um, well, we don't for this year, I don't have too many because I've slowed down doing the podcasts. One, I needed a break. We all need a break sometimes to kind of reset and recharge. We spoke about this. The podcast circuit is changing. I don't want to give too much attention to people who, I feel like they might be mocking people with disabilities, people who are different. Um, I don't want to support somebody's platform who may be doing those things, the mocking and the making fun
Yeah.
of, people with disabilities and people who are different. So I've slowed down a lot doing that. I've become more selective. So, like for right now, I've slowed down, and of course, my dad will ask me if I want to do a show, and we've just become more selective.
Yeah. So let's talk about your dad. Your dad is like your best friend, right?
Yes,
So,
absolutely.
like, if anybody wants to reach out to her, you have to go through her dad, and her dad's incredible. So, uh, let's talk about your dad and your relationship, like how it is to be that connection, like daughter and father.
Well, he's amazing. I don't like functioning labels when it comes to autism, but I am considered high functioning. However, there are still a lot of things that I can't do on my own, which if somebody just looked at me or kind of spoke to me, you probably wouldn't pick it up from speaking to me for a short amount of time, but if you're around me long enough, you'd be able to tell. I can't cross the street by myself. I can't use the stove. I can't iron my clothes. I need help with my medications. I don't drive. So, like, these are all things that I need my dad's help with. Um, so he brings me to my doctor's appointments. When you go see a new specialist and you have to fill out new papers and stuff, I'm not able to do that myself. So he'll fill out all my paperwork and things of that nature. When I had my surgery, he handled all of those things for me. So he does like all the, because I do have developmental delays and I'm dyslexic and all that great stuff. So I do need help with a lot of things. So he's just kind of there as that, that extra set of hands that I need. He's very supportive in my advocacy. He's there to make sure no one's making me feel uncomfortable. Um, he does not play when it comes to me.
No, he doesn't.
But I couldn't ask for like a more supportive father. When I got diagnosed, they spoke to him. They were like, "Well, how was she as a child? And did she do this? What was she like? What were some of her behaviors that you noticed? Did you notice this?" So he's been there for the like entire process. So I do consider myself very, very blessed.
I think it's really nice that your dad is there, right? And your dad is like your bodyguard. Like he doesn't
He
play.
really is. He really is.
uh, so when you go to family events and stuff like that, is dad like the bodyguard there too?
Yes, he is. But I can actually say that like my entire family is really protective of me, but he's still the bodyguard because he knows that I get overstimulated sometimes and I can't be there that long, or if somebody's in my face for too long, he's like, okay, she's had enough. But even when I go to theater, he stays there. He doesn't just drop me off and leave. Um, Even though I have a really great group of, I'm in a really great group with a really great group of people right now. So he trusts them. So now he'll go outside and wait in the car, but he still doesn't leave. But he's very protective, and he doesn't play any games when it comes to me.
Well, he's an amazing person, and I'm honored to meet
Yes.
and know your dad as well, right? I've communicated back and forth with your dad, and your dad's like, no, yeah, you know, uh, and it's good to have good conversation, especially working with everybody that works with you, because that's what it is building the relationship and building that community together. And I think that's what we've done in the last 3 years is we really built this relationship and friendship for one another and understand each other. uh, Now, if you could make a cup of tea, I'm going to take you into tea land. What kind of tea would you make if you could create your own tea?
I would make unicorn tea.
And I knew she was going to go with the unicorn tea because we talked about unicorns in the past, and we talked about Care Bears too, I believe, at one point
Yes,
too.
Care Bears. I love Care Bears.
Right? I'm a Care Bear person, and Care Bears are coming back. I seen them in Walmart when I went shopping the other day. I was
Yeah,
like,
they're
oh my god, they're
everywhere.
bringing
I
Care
need to
Bears.
stop buying them, but I can't help it. They come out with a new one like every time I look up. I'm like, I need that.
Yeah, Care Bears are like, they need to bring Care Bears back. Like you can't not smile when you say Care Bear. Even the
Yes.
grumpy Care Bear, like
I
he's
just got
cute
like
too.
some Care Bear earrings too. So I'm probably gonna take them apart and put them on like some bigger earrings. So yeah.
There we go. Right, Care Bear land, here we come. So back to the tea, the unicorn tea. What would be in
Yes.
your unicorn tea?
Let's see. Unicorns, little unicorn marshmallows, edible glitter, um, a pink straw, a big purple mug, um, some happiness dust, some positivity dust, and I don't know what else for now. You know, I'm really picky.
Yeah, that's okay because I believe it would be good. And it's okay to have unique teas out there and create and have fun with it, because that's what it's all about. Like when I serve tea, I don't serve the beverage, I serve like fun moments and special times together and, some laughs and jokes and some bloopers and all of that stuff. Uh, so now we have unicorn tea and we have Care Bear. Now we're creating a tea party here, right? And who else would you bring to that tea party?
Who else would I bring to my tea party? I bring my nephew. He's 3 years old. He's a ton of fun. He has a friend, so I'd probably bring his friend to the tea party too. They have great conversations that toddlers can only have. I'd bring my dad, of course, and I'd bring my theater coach.
Oh, well, look at that. See, it's who we put at our table and who we serve with. And I love that you picked your nephew at 3 years old because 3 years old, they're really creative. My granddaughter's three, and boy, some of the stories she comes up with.
He's hilarious, and they're so innocent and pure. They haven't been like tainted by the world and told what they shouldn't be yet. So I love
Yeah.
that.
So if you could create a story or a storyline or a dance performance of tea, how would it look?
It would be, well, it wouldn't be organized because I feel like people should be able to be free. So it would be like a freestyle because you really can't tell people that they're doing something wrong when art is involved.
Yeah.
So it would just be very freeing and not really chaotic, but all over the place.
And that's what it's all. A tea party is all over the place, right? It isn't about structure, it isn't about lines, it's about getting out of the lines, having that different flow, having that unicorn, having the sparkles, the glitter, all of that stuff. uh, I want to get into a little bit of your books because you have incredible books out there as well, so let's bring some awareness to those books. So if anybody would like to find any of your books, where could they find those?
Well, if you follow me on any social media platforms, Phenomenally Autistic everywhere, there's a link in my bio to my link tree, and in my link tree is my Amazon author page with all of my books that I endorse there. Like you can find all of them there, books that I've done with other authors, my books, my coloring books. You can find all of them right there. But my latest book, I'm Autistic and I'm Phenomenal, that's the book that I'm most proud of.
Yeah, let's get back into that book because I really want to get that book out there. Like you have the colors pink and purple on that book. So it has your two favorite colors. So you're telling the readers already that these are my favorite colors, guys. Like, look, it's right on the cover. What can they find inside that book?
You can find you can just get a peek inside the mind of a little Black autistic girl. Of course, some of the challenges, but then also some of the good characteristics. Um, the book is very colorful because, um, again, I don't want no doom and gloom. I want it to be a happy place. Um, and I chose to specifically, and I intentionally made it about a little girl. Sometimes people are like, "This is amazing," and is there one for a boy? And I'm like, "No, unfortunately, this is for girls because there's not enough representation for little Black autistic girls." And part of that is because girls have better masking skills than boys, which is also why girls of any race are diagnosed less or later or never at all than boys. So I just felt like girls needed some representation, and that's why I made this intentionally for girls. But so you'll see, some of the challenges, but you'll also see the joys. And so it takes you right through that. Like the challenges are in the beginning of the book, but then it's like at the end, it's like, okay, well, I can do this, and this is why I'm phenomenal. I do this, and this is why I'm phenomenal. So the end is just like in your face, I'm phenomenal. So
Now, let's talk about that word phenomenal. How old were you when you got that word phenomenal?
oh, I've loved it forever because Maya Angelou is my favorite poet, and she has that poem, Phenomenal Woman. So it's just like something that I've always been obsessed with. And when I needed to like make a name for like my advocacy page, I didn't know what to do. So I was just like, okay, phenomenally autistic. And it just kind of stuck. And at first I was like, I don't care what to call it, but then I was like, okay, phenomenally autistic, that sounds good to me. And people are always like, does it have anything to do with Maya Angelou? And I'm like, yes. So I just
Boom, there, that works.
yes, I just love the word, and it can be used for so many different things. And I just feel like everybody is phenomenal in their own way. You don't have to be like a celebrity to be phenomenal. You can do
Yeah.
anything and be phenomenal. You can kick a rock across the street and be phenomenal. So I just love the freaking word.
I could see you kicking a rock and making a positive thing out of it, right?
Yes.
It's like, how far can you go? uh, let's talk about. We have a question here about masking and skimming. So, what's masking and skimming? Are they the same or are they different?
They're very different. Masking is when well, first I'll say that masking is very dangerous because it
Okay.
can send you into a meltdown, it can send you into a shutdown, it can even send you into autistic burnout, which is very hard to get out of. But masking is when you are trying to hide or suppress your autistic traits so people can't like pick up on them if they know what they are, but it's to appear more normal, whatever that is. And stimming is like releasing a lot of energy, like stimmings and ticks. Like a lot of my ticks sometimes it just might be me tapping my finger. Sometimes stimming might look like you doing a dance. It's really different for everybody, so you really can't put it into a category because it looks different for everybody. But they are very different. But for everybody, it looks like something different. The ticks and the stems and the masking. It differs from person to person.
So, when do those usually happen? When you're overstimulated?
Um, you can actually they can happen when there's absolutely nothing wrong with you. Like I have tics for no reason. Sometimes when you stim, it's just you just might need to get rid of some extra energy that you didn't even know you needed to get rid of. Or sometimes you just do it because just for the hell of it. So it sometimes it can be for no reason. Sometimes there's absolutely a reason, but it is different for everybody and everybody does it for a different reason. Just like, everybody has different care needs. So one person might have to do it for this reason, another person might have to do it for this reason.
Now, do you do any zoning out?
Oh yes, I do. I have a dissociative disorder, so I disassociate a lot. For me, it doesn't look like I don't have alters, which people may know as multiple personalities. That's not what dissociation looks like for me. For me, it might be like what people might think is zoned out. but I go really deep into it. So I might, like, a really bad example of what has happened to me when I dissociate. I have like left the house with no shoes on, and then when I've like woken up from it, I'm like, how did I get out here? So another reason why my dad is really protective, because he I might wander off somewhere and I don't know where I am, and I don't know who I am. I don't know what year it is. I might not recognize somebody in this dissociative episode who may be a family member who I'm supposed to be familiar with. And it's very common in autistic people, but not only autistic people dissociate. A lot of people have dissociative episodes and dissociative disorders. So,
Yeah. So, what other symptoms with autism should people be aware of?
oh, there are a lot of symptoms of autism. Some people don't have all of them. Communication is really challenging for me. Eye contact is really hard. Sensory processing disorder. I'm very sensitive to light. I have sensitivity to touch. Sometimes I have touch aversion. I don't want anybody touching me. Smell, certain smells too strong can send you into a full out meltdown. Taste, um, texture, certain foods, very picky, only eat about 5 different foods. Um, there are so many symptoms. Well, they're really traits of
Yeah.
autism, and they're different in everybody. Some people have more than others. Some people are also like severely developmentally delayed that have autism. Some people aren't. And some people have other disorders that come along with being autistic. So it's a spectrum, and the spectrum is very wide. So like no two autistic people are the same.
So, before we wrap up, what final message would you like to give everybody that's listening today about autism?
I would just like to say that we are human and we have feelings. So, just back to what I was saying before, don't judge us by our diagnosis, get to know us as a person. Don't listen to the stigmas that the media and society has put out there about us. Give people a chance, because you might be missing out on a really awesome person just because you decided to listen to somebody that might not even know what they're talking about. So just be a little bit more open minded, and um, open your heart, and you never know who you might meet. You might meet like your best friend, and they're autistic, but you would have never known or met them if you were being closed minded and just listening to society and letting stigmas have your mind being closed off.
So, and before we wrap up, I want to just get those bags out again. So, when are those bags? When do you expect to have those bags out for the foster children?
I want to design more, so probably I want to do like maybe the first drop for the holidays, of course, and then maybe the next round in February. So I'm trying to do it every couple of months. So that's my goal.
Oh, that's cool. And again, thank you for doing that. If anybody would like to know more about you, they can reach out to you through your link tree, correct?
Yes, all my information is in my link tree. I'm phenomenally autistic across all social media.
Well, it was really a pleasure to sit and have you for the third time. And, we always have these good, incredible times, and we create these amazing tea parties and tea times together. Uh, you know, check out Care Bears. If you haven't heard of a Care Bear, check out Care Bears. And if you haven't heard of Unicorn Tea, well, you want to listen to this tea time and you want to connect. And, you know, check out season 3, season 4, and season 5. Ayanna has been on all 3, and we've gotten to some really good conversations during those times. So, again, thank you so much for joining me and being a guest and coming
Thank you for
back
having me.
and getting to know your father a little bit more. It's been a real pleasure to get to know your family. So, thank you so much for that.
Thank
Uh,
you.
for all the for all the listeners out there, I will be back tomorrow on Thursday with couples return. We have 2 incredible couples coming back, and then in the evening we have a uh, um, thriller screenwriter author coming on. So be sure to check that out. And on October 24th, you will see the press release for the November lineup, and there's incredible topics and individuals that will be joining Miss Liz for tea again. So if you'd like to know more about Tea Time, check out www.misslizsteatime.com. Until then, keep serving your tea, keep being true, and we'll make a difference one cup of tea at a time. So take care and have a blessed day.